Once I was having this conversation with some of my friends, and we were talking about what we would do once we are done with our jobs. And we talked for some time, and we all end up fantasizing about only if we can just cut out all this noise and live a nice peaceful life in some village. And I love that idea, something about being able to live a relaxed life. So eventually I left my job and I wanted to see how does that feel. So I found this really nice, charming village in the valleys of Himalayas, and it was such a perfect place. We had a river, we had a mountain, we had a forest, and people were nice, dogs were friendly. Sometimes I would just go to a forest, take a walk there. Sometimes we will trek to the mountain and stay in this really charming mountain hut. And it felt so good for a week or two, but then I started to feel miserable. Not at unease, but miserable. Because on the surface it looked so good, but in reality I was just walking here and there, sitting here and there and talking about this and that. In reality, I had no direction. And we are wired in such a way that we have to act in every moment. And if we have no direction based on what we will act. I still remember sometime I even tried to sleep for 18 hours straight because I didn't want to face the day. Because I didn't know what to do. And I found out that I have to even act in my dreams. Now I know some people who tells me even though they have no direction in their life, they are so happy. And I don't buy that. Especially when I look into their actions. They're always drinking, they're always watching same TV shows repeatedly, they're always competing. And if they're so happy, why they have to do all these things? They're not happy. This is called denial. You see, we have to act in every moment. And when we have no intention, no directionality, we start to act out of default. We start to act out of our temptation, impulses, other people's opinion. And this creates even bigger problem. Because every action has a reaction, an effect. And things like depression, anxiety, insomnia, these things just don't happen. They are the effect of acting out of default. So if certain actions are leading us to mental disharmony, it is just logical to assume that certain action will lead us to mental harmony. Viktor Frankl, a shining example. At the time of Nazis, he was taken away from his family and put it into a concentration camp, where he had to live unimaginably inhuman life. He had to live on a piece of bread for days. He had to work, he had to do hard physical work in a cold freezing weather with no shoes or clothes and a supervisor who is constantly watching him to just make one mistake so he can beat the shit out of him. Watching his inmates being burnt alive because they don't have a space or they are not fit for the work anymore. And at one point he wrote something which still brings tears in my eyes, that one of his inmates was sick and he was having a really bad nightmare and he was shivering and quivering, and Viktor Frankl had no guts to wake him up because he thought no matter what he was witnessing, it couldn't be worse than the situation they were into. Just imagine the injustice even when he did nothing. Viktor Frankl had a direction. He wanted to write a book about human mind, and he didn't just survive that concentration camp. He leveraged that experience to write this book. And a few days back I watched his interview on YouTube and I was surprised and awestruck by seeing how alive and charming he was. So here's the thing, whether we want it or not, we have to act in every moment. And whether we like it or not, we have to face the result of that action. The only thing we have in our power is giving the direction to those actions.